The Longines Hong Kong International Horse Show is brought to you by Longines.
Hello there and welcome to TVB Pearl's live coverage of the Longines Hong Kong International Horse Show. I'm joined in the studio by Joss Gray from the Hong Kong Jockey Club, and Joss, this is show jumping at the very highest level.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a real spectacle. There's this, this show's got loads of displays and show jumping at the highest order. It's got riders in the top 10 in the world. Lots of prize money, lots of action, but it's been a real spectacle over the last 2 or 3 days. So it's been fantastic to watch. I've been there and just got back.
Well, we're looking at the polished, finished product here, but there's a huge amount of logistics that goes into putting this on.
Absolutely, and as the Jockey Club have worked very hard with the organisers, H-Power, that are based in the UK, and they run the London International Horse Show, and we've worked with them in collaboration. The Jockey Club have helped with all the logistics when it comes to sort of bringing the horses into the country and working on veterinary and biosecurity measures, and so the Jockey Club have been very active in their collaboration with H-Power.
Okay, right. Before we go to the live pictures, let's take a quick look back at the opening ceremony from this year's event. Okay, so just a reminder, this has been held, or is being held, out at Asia World Expo near Hong Kong Airport. So, as so many huge sporting events are greeted in Hong Kong, this also with the traditional line dance.
Asian Games in Chicago.
And this is Michael Lee, the chairman of the Hong Kong Jockey Club, speaking.
At the 19th Asian Games in Hangzhou.
Bringing this event.
And he was joined by Michael Wong, the Deputy Financial Secretary of the Hong Kong SAR.
A huge welcome, and I hope you will return to Hong Kong ever since.
Photograph to mark this auspicious occasion. Thank you very much.
So, Joss, can you tell us before we get started about the field this year? What's it like?
It's got, as I mentioned before, it's got a couple of riders in the top 10 in the world, but they've got some incredible horses to watch, and there's lots of prize money up for grab in this big class that we're going to be covering soon. There's $500,000 US in prize money, and so it really does attract the best riders in the world. So it's great to see, and obviously in Hong Kong we're very used to seeing our world-class racing here, so it's really wonderful for the whole of Hong Kong to be able to have this level of show jumping in the country.
Okay, so we have about an hour and a half of programming coming up, but we're going to take a quick break first, and we'll be back at Asia World Expo in just a moment. Stay with us.
Father and son take on Latin America. Join them on this barrel of laughs.
You said that joke so many times.
Because nothing brings family closer together than pushing them out of their comfort zone.
You absolutely stupid voice.
Breaking Dad, Wednesday night at 8 on Pearl.
必理痛特強傷風感冒丸，極速擊退6大感冒症狀。
我唔會俾傷風感冒影響到我工作表現。
極速起效，唔眼瞓。必理痛特強傷風感冒丸，極速擊退感冒症狀。
Get ready for movie night. Tonight, Salt. Tomorrow night, Terminator, Dark Fate. See you there. Innovations can let you do so many things. Grow a portobello in your own home. scan a dog's nose for their nose ID, and remake an old car for the modern road.
This is so cool.
Innovation Nation, Thursday night at 8 on Pearl.
Now, welcome to live pictures from Asia World Expo. Joss, we've seen a few of the riders pacing out the course, which is a pretty standard practice, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. So these course designers, particularly at the highest level, really play around with the distances, meaning that they're really testing the best riders in the world and testing the best horses in the world, because it really means that the horses have to be very well trained and have to be very responsive to what the rider's asking them to do. The riders, you'll see them pacing out a course, working out the distances between the jumps, so they know exactly how they've got to sort of adjust their horses between the fences. Horses obviously go into the arena. They haven't seen the map of the course, so they're really relying on the riders to tell them exactly where they're going. And you'll see in the first round they'll jump around the course, and it will still seem that the horses are really showing their full extent of what they can do physically. But in the jump off, what you'll start to see is the riders then in the second round against the clock really going as quick as they can and making some turns that are pretty exactly. Well, here's the course, perfect timing. So you can see, as you can see, they would go from the first fence back down to the oxer at 2, and that oxer is going to be pretty meaty. It's a 150 oxer, in fact 150 wide. Then you head down towards the flowers, and again that's another big oxer. That's a 152 oxer. So these are really big fences. And then we come around to fence 4, and actually fence 4 is one of the highest fences on the course. It's a 160 class, so that's 1.60 m, and where they'll have 5 strides then down to the first double on the course. Both of those fences are about 150, 155. As they head now back round towards fence 6, which will be the Jockey Club Liverpool. And they'll be heading down then to the treble, which are 3 jumps in a row. And those 3 jumps in a row, they've got 1 stride between each. Big efforts there for the horses. They're heading there, you can see, towards the entrance where the horses come in the arena, as they then head round back towards fence 8, which is another Longines fence you'll see a little bit later on when the horses are jumping. This is quite technical, but we're going back to the striding. There'll be 5 strides down to there. We were talking about the riders having to know that before they walk the course. And then they'll be heading round after fence 9. They're heading back to the silver planks, which will be the dragon fences at 10, before they then make their way towards the oxer at 11. And an oxer is actually a wide fence. You can see like 2 fences put together to make a wider fence. And a vertical is, as you can see on that plan there, just one set of rails basically.
So I should just remind the audience that Joss works for the Hong Kong Jockey Club, and you've also spent the last few days out there watching and being heavily involved in this. So you're saying that the riders, of course, as we saw, they know the course. The horses don't. Well, so the horses are not brought out beforehand and kind of walked around the course? It's actually totally incredible, because, I mean, these horses are just wonderful creatures. They're so adaptable. They can sort of come into the arena, and they can, they've got crowds all the way around the outside. They've got lights on. There's definitely a big atmosphere. And horses are herd animals, and you can see them warming up there at the moment. They're all together, and the horses are, because they're herd animals, they're quite relaxed. Then suddenly they have to go through these curtains, which you'll see the horses coming through in a minute, into the main arena, and they're on their own, and they have to really have that good partnership with their rider, so that they believe in the rider and where they're going, and you're really in quite a big atmosphere in these arenas. And as you can see, it's quite tight, really. I mean, it's quite a lot of fences, as you can see, in a small arena. Sometimes you can see show jumping out on grass, which all seems a bit more spread out. Certainly you'll see in some of these big Olympic arenas, even on sand, it all seems a little bit more spread out. But here indoors, it's quite compact, which again means that the skill involved from the riders really requires them to be able to produce that power from the horses and balance and through a very tight turn. Everything's a
a turn back on itself in a very small area, which again is a high degree of skill.
Ideally, would you want a slightly wider area here, or just bigger all around, or?
No, I mean it's an absolutely ideal setting here for the spectators and for the closeness to the action. I mean, as you can see there, it's an amazing setting. They've got all those the spectators on one side in the gallery, or you've got even some tables and VIP sections, and people are literally sort of 2 meters away from the show jump, and sometimes sort of standing beside or being very close to a horse and hearing their hooves hit the ground and jumping over the fence is really, you feel part of the action. It's quite amazing.
A bit like the Palio in Siena, where you can also get incredibly close to the horses.
Absolutely.
Now I'm going to run you through a whole lot of questions, Joss, if you don't mind. The surface. What sort of surface are we looking at here?
Well, the surface is really critical. These horses are very, are amazing athletes, and they really need the correct footing to be able to have a long career, and to be able to make sure they don't get any injuries. And so the density of the sand is really important. Sometimes it can have a bit of a wax coating, but that surface will definitely hurt someone. Very professional, making sure that it's absolutely the top surface available.
So first up, it's Jack Whitaker.
Yeah, Jack Whitaker. So he's nephew to the very, very famous John Whitaker, who's been in about every single Olympics that I've ever known of, and he's a very, very good rider. Young, he's 23.
So would any of these jumps be particularly harder than the others? Is there like one key jump on a course, or several, or they try and make all of them difficult, or all of them mediumly difficult? I
think certainly, I mean, for these riders, they're all, I mean, for the mere mortals, it's all difficult. It's very the top level. But for these riders, they're very used to riding at this. With fences of this height, where the fences become more difficult, are quite often is the sighting of them, depending on where they are through a turn or in relation to another fence, where the riders have to make alterations. That's where the complexity comes.
Now, if you get a refusal by a horse, what usually is the cause of that?
It's something can. I mean, some horses do get spooked. Sometimes they see something. They do respond to.
So it could be even something in the audience, something that's got nothing to do with the actual barrier.
Yeah, certainly when horses are younger, they can get affected by this sort of atmosphere, and this sort of environment a lot easier. But these horses are very seasoned campaigners. But even the seasoned campaigners can. So there's Jack just having a couple of rails down there. So when these horses are very experienced, but they do spook sometimes. We saw a couple having an elimination over the last couple of days for that exact reason, just spooking at a fence. But quite often, if a horse does arrive at a fence on a really bad stride, and what we mean by really bad stride is you arrive at the wrong place to take off, and the horse isn't balanced enough, then they can refuse because they know they can't make the effort to get over. So there's 2 fences down there for Jack Whitaker. This is going to be so if I just there's the curtains I was talking about as the horses leave the other horses. So certainly this class, this is the first round. This is all with the time allowed. Once you go past your time allowed of 47 seconds, then you start incurring time penalties. So you want to make sure that you're making the time and going clear in order to get into the jump off. And the jump off was what we'll see a little bit later on with hopefully just the right amount of riders getting through to the next round. So we've got a Brazilian rider here, Yuri Mansur. He's very experienced rider. He's been to 2 Olympic Games, including Paris last year. Been watching watching him jumping the last couple of days. He's got some lovely horses. And just heading through those, down through that treble we were talking about earlier. This horse is in a lovely rhythm the whole way around.
Yuri Mansur is 45 years of age. He's from Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
And he represented Brazil during the World Cup finals in 2011, 2014, and 2023.
And he's
gets a huge roar from the crowd.
Very good. So there he goes. We've got a clear, which is great. Good news for our jump off later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was just a lovely rhythm. I mean, they made it look very easy. But there's sometimes be quite deceptive around these courses. You can see a really top rider and horse jump early on and think it's going to be fairly straightforward, but then it proves to be more of a difficult course than it looked. What's been lovely about this course is the course design has made some absolutely wonderful fences to look at. So you'll see all the themes of Hong Kong. You can just see there as he goes past the red flags of the boat in the harbour. There's lovely horse head statues there. They've got the foo dogs and some lovely fences. So we've got our next rider in here now. This is Max Kuhner. He's actually he's ranked number 9 in the world.
How many horses would each of these riders work with generally throughout the year?
Varies from rider to rider. I mean, quite a few. They've got they'll have if they've got a large stable, they have quite a few young horses coming through. When you've got lots of good horses, you are away like this competing quite a lot at all the shows. So you may have other riders at home producing your younger horses. You know, like a second rider at home. Again, this is just going down this treble here. You can see there was one stride between each of those fences. So it's just mentioning before, 2, 3, 5, 6, down to that. So this, as we mentioned before, Max Kuhner. From Austria. And again, that's another clear.
Yeah.
Very good riding. So we had Jack down with a couple of rails down and went first, but since then we've had 2 clears. Just makes it, once you start getting a few clears, you know that you're going to be in for a good jump off later on, because all these riders know when for this sort of prize money, they've really got to go as quick as they can later on. So we'll see some very entertaining riding in the jump off now. We're starting to get some clear rounds.
So we're already seeing a good variety of jumpers from different parts of the world. But where would you say the world centre of riding is? Well, you'd have to say Europe, I guess, but where in Europe? Well, it depends, again, a little bit on which discipline you're talking about. I mean, certainly the Brits have had a good time in 3-day eventing and dressage, and it sort of goes in cycles a little bit. The dressage has been very successful in Great Britain as well in recent years. But the Germans have always been, obviously, they've got a very strong pedigree of Olympics and championships and medals over the last X amount of years in both dressage and show jumping. So now we've got Scott Brash coming into the arena. Scott Brash is quite an exceptional rider. He's riding for Great Britain, and he's a twice Olympic gold medalist in both London and Paris. And he's just fresh off winning a 5-star Grand Prix in Doha just a couple of weeks ago. So again, it's been wonderful being there
close to these exceptional riders and horses these past couple of days. So as mentioned, the noise you can hear now, hopefully they're picking that up on the television as well. You can really hear the horses beat, you know, striding as they get to the fence. They're very quick-footed. This is coming down the treble here.
Can you just remind me again about the time limit that they're trying to stick to?
Correct. Once they go over a certain, once they go over the time allowed, they start incurring time penalties. So, so at the moment they're good. It will come up on your screen as red once they start, if they start getting penalties that are over the time allowed.
Okay.
So all these riders are. There you go, it's another clear. This is going to be a great jump off a bit later. Yeah, so all these riders are all getting into the jump off here.
Yeah, big cheer for the 39-year-old Scotsman.
I think he's very happy with that. Scott Brash. But certainly this is going to be, I think, going to be quite a few in the jump off. Sometimes you can have quite a difficult first round, and you may even only get one or two in the jump off, which means that you might get a very tactical round at the end with someone not necessarily really putting their foot to the floor, just trying to jump clear. But what we'll see later on is we'll see lots of top riders all knowing this big prize money is up for grabs, and they really have to go as quick as they can, because if they're not going quick, the next one is, it won't be a question of just going clear. You'll be having to go clear. So
just double checking, the top prize here is $500,000 US.
Yes.
Okay.
The prize money in full, it's half a million.
The pool.
Yeah,
okay.
$500,000 US. So there's lots of prize money, and obviously lots of prestige of being a Grand Prix winner. So just while we were talking then, we've got our Danish rider now, Zascha Lill. And she's clear still. She's came fourth in the World Cup in Leipzig and came ninth in the Rome Grand Prix. Really nice down that treble. And you can see sometimes these horses have these ear bonnets on, as you can see. So it's more than just aesthetic. It's actually they just help protect from the noise a little bit for the horses, just because obviously the crowds can be quite loud sometimes, and horses can get a little bit concerned about the noise. There we go, we've got another clear. This is definitely going to be a great jump off later. It's very good riding here. They're all making it look very easy. Again, show jumping is a bit like other sports you see on TV when it comes to not really appreciating the difficulty of it. If you watch motor racing sometimes on TV, the cars look like they're going fast, but you can't really get the feeling of how fast a Formula One car is unless you probably stood near the track. The same a bit like with downhill skiing. You don't really notice how steep it is until you stand at the top of the slope and look down. And fall. And fall, yeah. Correct. But when, like with the show jumping here now, it looks big, but it's
particularly the barriers. I think you were saying before, the top Olympic jump is 165. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, this class here is the height of the Olympics. It's 5-star here. This is a 160 class. 165 is.
So basically, you're absolutely right. Looking particularly from up here where the cameras are angled, it doesn't look that high. When you're standing there, and I've been here a couple of times, when you're standing there, it's enormous. It's absolutely. And you do wonder how on earth they get over.
It is incredible. And it is particularly incredible how the horses literally just come through a turn and boom, they seem to be on just the right stride and just the right balance as they come out to jump these huge fences. But a lot goes on through a turn that you don't really appreciate. The rider really sets up the revs and the balance and the power to be able to to just be able to take off at a certain angle to get over these jumps, because these horses really are jumping fences that obviously these horses are got amazing conformation and been very well trained. But
you're an event rider yourself.
Yeah.
You've obviously watched competitors as well. How long does it take before you can pick a horse that is just a little bit unsettled?
What you can see in the arena, funnily enough, what you can see is not. Sometimes when they come in the arena, you can see some horses are quite buzzy and they're quite sort of jumpy and excitable, and but that's kind of how they operate. But what you do see more is where horses lose a little bit of credit in the bank, so to speak, as they go around the course. They have a couple of dodgy moments where they've had to try extra hard, where they've almost, had a, sort of almost got it wrong, or hit a pole and lost a little bit. That's a shame. There were one down just right at the end there. So you might see a horse lose a bit of a credit around the round, and then you can tell maybe they're going to stop in 3 or 4 jumps time, because the horses are getting, you can see it's just lost that little bit of confidence. But with great riders, even if they have a little moment that no one else can really see, they can pick up that confidence dropping a bit. They give that horse that confidence back again as they go around their round. So that was a real shame there. Very disappointing. Very late pole down. So William Fletcher into the arena. So we had an amazing class a little bit earlier on today. We had I don't know if you've seen that before, a puissance competition where they've got to jump as high as they can over a big wall. It's an amazing show. There were four riders all shared the top prize, and William Fletcher was one of them. So William Fletcher is 25 years old. In the UK. He's riding a horse called Awalinda. He's had a very early rail there, second fence. It's always very difficult as a rider when you have an early fence in the round, and you know that quite a few others are going to be in the jump off on their clear rounds, and you won't be participating later on, but you do carry on the hopes that there's not that many in the jump off and you may get a low placing. So after that early rail, he's settle back into a nice rhythm here. That plank there, that grey plank he's just jumped at the top, is ever so light on very flat cups. It's just the gentlest of nudges and they fall down.
So when you see a barrier come off, it sounds loud and it sounds heavy. Yeah. But what are they made? What are they made from?
They're made of wood, and actually they just sound loud. With there's microphones all the way around the side, and it sounds quite loud.
So it sounds worse than it is.
Yes, I mean it's a clonk. I mean it's fine.
Okay, we'll take a quick break now and be back in a moment.
The government's youth hostel scheme is a major youth development initiative to address the housing needs of working youths. Under the scheme, the government will fund non-governmental organisations to build youth hostels or rent hotels and guest houses for use as hostels.
青年綠洲嘅計劃咧，主要個目的咧，令到佢哋咧唔單止擁有自己嘅空間啦，可以自我增值啦，擴闊佢自己嘅視野，亦都培育佢哋嘅同理心，對社會一個貢獻嘅精神。
一幅畫卷唔單止係盛世繁華，更加係破案嘅關鍵。每一次推理都係正義與黑暗嘅較量。張仲文，如果沒有屍體，就不會有命案。白德河，
我沒看見幹大官。
以畫為證，抽絲剝繭，還原真相。清明上河圖密碼，以畫入局，真相等你揭曉。首3集免費。
必理痛特強傷風感冒熱飲，有效舒緩初起感冒症狀，有成個檸檬咁多嘅維他命C。 5分鐘準備起效，必理痛特強傷風感冒熱飲，有效舒緩初起感冒症狀。
So exhausted from work.
It's time to chill a bit.
What is this?
It takes you to outer space and relaxes you. Vaping space oil drug is never just for fun. Etomidate has been listed as a dangerous drug. Those who ask you to vape it only want to harm you. Anyone involved in drug-related crimes are liable for life imprisonment. It is addictive and can be lethal. Don't follow the space oil drug traps. Let's stand firm. Knock drugs out.
And welcome back, if you've just joined us, to TVB Pearl's live coverage of the Longines Hong Kong International Horse Show. I'm Andrew Sams and my guest is Joss Gray from the Hong Kong Jockey Club. So, we're watching live action from the last day of this fabulous event here in Hong Kong.
It's been a wonderful third day. It's been 3 days of an absolute spectacle at this competition. It's been terrific to have this level of competition here in Hong Kong. Just seeing the Belgian rider complete his round there. He's heading back out there to the collecting ring where all the horses warm up or cool down afterwards. Got our next rider here. So we've got Sanne Thijssen here on Joviality. He rides for Holland. So it's certainly got a few in the jump off. There's a few more great riders to come.
Riders like this young man, looking forward, looking ahead to their career.
Yeah.
How much is focused on the big events around the world like this, and how much of their focus is on each Olympics coming up?
They focus on both. Obviously, the Olympics is the pinnacle of every equestrian rider's dream, is to be an Olympic champion. And they only come around every 4 years, so it's like all the other disciplines. You've got to have timing and fortune with you. But they have horses. I mean, horses really their peak of the horses' careers are really between certainly in show jumping between 10 and 14 really, and you still get them 16 and 18 up to still jumping. But where they're at their peak, if you're unlucky and have a horse that's injured at a certain time, say, and just a bit of time off, that's one Olympics gone, and it's an 8-year cycle, isn't it, suddenly?
Yeah.
But there's games all the time, isn't there? There's European Championships and World Championships. I'm very pleased with that.
He looks absolutely ecstatic about that.
Very good. So, French rider next, Yves Bost.
Yeah, he's been here. He's been to Hong Kong before.
He has, yeah, definitely.
People here at the arena will be very familiar with him.
Yeah, watch him in the collecting ring. Certainly, quite a character.
So he's Roger is 59 years old. This really is a quite unusual sport to have people from the age of 18 up to this age and beyond as well, all competing on the same level.
It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? And it's wonderful to have sports, obviously, as well, the way we have men and women being able to compete against each other.
That too.
But certainly you'll see John Whitaker a little bit later on. He's just about to be a 70 and he's going to be competing in this competition. That's a bit of an unfortunate rail there, as you can see. And he's just pulled the horse out there. There was the treble going down that line there where the horses really have got to... Once you've jumped in first one and it puts you wrong, you made the wise decision to sort of pull out and not jump, to try and attempt the last two fences on that line, because the horse would have just been in an impossible position. So horse just lost a little bit of confidence on the fence before. But he now looks like he's going to carry on. So really had to ride that horse through, make sure he gave him plenty of confidence to get through there after having not jumped it earlier. As you can see, he's having to work quite hard on this round here. So whereas you've seen some of the other rider-horse combinations making it just look a little bit smoother in a better rhythm, he's having to work quite hard to be able to get to the end of that. So
it's a good crowd here. Huge respect for the Frenchman, despite that mishap.
Yeah, it's very popular, as you can see everybody.
Yeah, 14 penalties. That is in stark contrast to 0 penalties, which we've seen from so many of the riders here so far.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's again, once you start losing a bit of credit in the bank on your round, as I mentioned earlier, horses then just sort of just coming down that line there. Once he lost his distance and his balance and lost his canter, he couldn't quite reorganise in time to be able to get down that line successfully. We've got our next rider coming in now. So from Switzerland, this is Barbara Schnieper. She's riding Canis. Schnieper, sorry. Improve my pronunciations there, Schnieper. She won in Verona and won in St. Gallen as well last year. She's again, this is just looking a little bit more fluid than the last round. As you can see, it's not looking quite so ragged. This line here, that's just making sure that it's nicely done through there. Back to the Longines fence. Oh, just got a little bit tight there over the oxer. Down behind. There's that light plank I was telling you about on the corner. And over the last unfortunate 4 faults there, just over that one fence. But you'll be pleased the way the horse, I'm sure, jumped around that course. You can see sometimes you just get the rub of the green or you don't. Sometimes you can give these poles a bit of a rub and they rattle about and they sort of end up still being in the same place. Or sometimes you can barely breathe on them and they plop off. So it's a bit like in football, whether you hit the goalposts, either bounces in or bounces out.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it can just be how you touch the fence, and you can see just brushed the fence with its back legs as it's on the way down there. Of course, she's a Canis nearly with the clear round. We've got our next rider in now, which is Geir Gulliksen, Norway. So, Norwegian rider riding a very French-sounding horse. Ola Vanovers. It's a very early fence there, fence 2. Very frustrating as a rider. Having an early fence. But again, it's just have another rail there. It's just not quite getting up the air in front. can see, again, this horse has got one of those ear bonnets on. Just sometimes get a bit sensitive to the noise. It's another rail. It's 4 down.
Gulliksen is 65 years of age, just turned 65 in fact, and an interesting bit of trivia about him at the 2008 Olympics. He and his team were given a bronze medal and then had it not so much taken away, but they were downgraded basically because it turned out one of the riders was disqualified in their team. So heartbreaking.
Yeah, very much.
It was Beijing in 2008.
Very, very tough to go through. Again, the amazing amount of volunteers you'll see at these at this show. It's got the whole community here in Hong Kong.
Oh yes.
So there's a huge equestrian community here in Hong Kong. We've got a fantastic Equestrian Federation of Hong Kong, China, and they've got some lots of volunteers that have been volunteering since the 2008 Olympics we had here in Hong Kong, and lots of good judges and stewards all help these shows run.
That was such a moment for Hong Kong in 2008 when we hosted the equestrian for the Beijing Olympics.
Absolutely.
The course was out near Bees River, I believe, and they took over Summer Fanling Golf Course.
Correct,
for the course.
For the cross country, yeah, yes. Absolutely. That's right there and right beside Bees River. We had the rest of the disciplines at Sha Tin.
In fact, what they've done on the golf course, I'm pretty sure the last time I played there, they've left one of the barriers out there from the Olympics on the course.
Absolutely, yeah. No, one of the fences is still there. Yeah, definitely. It's a real reminder.
Oh, a touch.
Yeah, she's had one rail a little bit earlier on there already. So.
You're talking about how, luck can go either way, but that seemed like a very strong rub by the horse, and it moved quite a lot but didn't come off.
Absolutely.
That one did.
That one did, just got a little bit low over the last. No, sometimes, as you say, it's how you hit the pole. Sometimes you can come down on the pole and it literally bounces in the cup and lands in the same place. But sometimes you can just sort of brush over it and take it with you, kind of, and hit it less hard, but it definitely comes with you. So it's, but these cups are very shallow, and the poles are very light, and will obviously adds to the difficulty of the course you're jumping. Any slight mistakes and these poles go down. It's the evolution of the sport. This is our Hong Kong rider here. This is Patrick Lam riding Lopez 1, and he's having an absolutely brilliant few days. He's been on great form. He's a real delight to watch, and you can just see he seems to not be. It just seems very soft and easy when you're watching him ride. It never seems to be in a hurry, and he seems to. As I mentioned, all great riding all looks like you've got time, or any great sportsmen all look like they've got time. Hong Kong rider that came third yesterday in the 155 Longines Stakes.
I think he's 41 years of age, 41, 42.
Yeah, such a nice guy too. He's a really nice person. So he came third on Dakota yesterday, which is a really, really big achievement in this big company. It's a real shame down that line there. Again, as I was talking about a little bit before, about once everything can look quite smooth, and once you have a little bit of a moment or two somewhere, it can just suddenly mean you're having to to make it back up again and get the confidence back in there. But finishing on a nice note there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, those last two barriers, there were 2 touches, but nothing came down.
Exactly. It is. Sometimes you really can just not even know you've had a fence down. Sometimes as a competitor, you think you've gone clear, but it's literally just plopped off somewhere behind you, and you had no idea you'd had a rail. Just didn't quite get up there over the middle vertical. But he's had a really good couple of days. So we're now moving on to Portuguese rider, Rodrigo Almeida. And he's on a lovely grey horse, Coronia L. So after we were talking a little bit earlier on about how many clear rounds we'd had, I think done the commentator's curse. Suddenly we've had a spate of rails down. That was lovely down there. This has just been the tricky line here. Is that down? No, still clear. Oh,
that didn't come off well. No.
That fence is all sighted towards the exit and where the horses come in. And there's just sometimes can be what's in the distance as much as anything, but it is the line to the fence. It does definitely impact how the horses jump down that line from the fence off the turn beforehand. It's such a shame. You'd be quite disappointed with that. It was a lovely round, just that last element of the oxer and the treble.
Well, I'll say only 4 penalties. It was a very smooth looking run, but
it's a lovely. Just watch the horse. Got a lovely sort of expression on him, and just. It's actually a mare, sorry, on her. It's just, it's a shame. The rest of the round was lovely. There you've got the groom. These horses these riders have grooms that look after their horses, and the horses has a huge partnership with the grooms as much as anything. The grooms really love their horses and travel. I mean, sorry.
Sorry, each rider has come out with 1 horse or 2?
Some with 2.
Okay.
The grooms and the riders fly out separately, and then literally as the horses come off the plane to the venue, they're met by the grooms.
Right.
And again, it's all the logistics being supported from by the jockey club. So, that's a shame. You see the jockey club move a lot of horses around internationally. So there's a dedicated transport team. That's a shame. This is Dominik F&uuml from Switzerland, and he's riding a horse called Ghost. Just making his way down now. Still on the 4 faults. So we've got 5 more riders left. We've got a few clears, but certainly we went through that little phase earlier on in the class where we thought there might be quite a lot in the jump off, but again, it's a bit deceptive when you get a few good rounds. You think it's going to be a different picture, but suddenly you see it's proving quite a difficult track to jump. So we're waiting now for the next competitor. Now the next competitor, Richard Vogel, German, from Germany. He's 8th in the world. He's riding a horse called Claudio. So maybe a favourite getting to the jump off here.
So Vogel is 27 years of age. He's from Mannheim in Germany.
He's a German Olympian. He's
yeah, he's got 1 Olympics under his belt. That's Paris 2024.
Yeah, and he's down that tricky line. That's certainly been a very influential set of fences there on that line. Horse is really neat in front. You can, what I mean by neat in front, the horse's front legs really tuck up underneath himself. Very careful. Oh, gave that a bit of a rub. Did you see how that almost bounced in his cups? And he's clear. There you go. Just what we were talking about before on these cups, that bounced back in the cup. And he's clear. That's great to have another one in the jump off.
0 penalties. Vogel, part of the German team that won the FEI Nations Cup final in Barcelona in 2023 as well.
There have quite a few of these riders head up to the States as well. He won a couple of Grand Prix in Florida. There's certainly a lot of travelling these riders do, getting onto these different circuits. So we got our next rider, Francesco Turturiello, and I'm sure I can pronounce that better, given a bit more time. Italian rider, so I hope he forgives me for my pronunciation. He's riding LHKIHS ZL. I might hand over the pronunciations to you for our next few.
I'd say
actually, so we got John Whitaker.
Turturiello.
Oh, that sounds a lot better. Your Italian sounds a lot more fluent than mine. So he's rode in the 2023 European Championships. He's won in the UK at Hickstead. It'd be lovely to get another rider or two into this jump off. This is the line. They just get a bit tight down that over at that last oxer. Again, it's just jumping straight towards where the horses come in and out of the arena. You can see the rider there really sort of trying to get there on that distance at the end to that the red sail fence. Again, over the last with a 2 down, but again it was a round looked quite fluid and down to that treble, and once they get to that treble and the horses just get a little bit tight and on that over that last oxer, just seems to rattle them a little bit, and then you can see the round sort of unwinds a little bit after that. So it is really quite an influential line there. So just the 2 down, and we've got 3 riders left to go.
So it's basically 4 points for each barrier knocked down.
Correct, yeah, so each fence down.
4 penalty points, I should say.
Yes, correct. Each fence down is 4 penalty points.
So a bit of frustration there for the 48-year-old as we now move on.
So we're going to a Belgian rider here. And I'll hand over the pronunciation to you.
I'd say Vereecke.
Very good. So we've got Vereecke he's a winner of a Nations Cup final in 2022 and a Grand Prix winner in Valencia in 21. And he's on an 11-year-old mare. Again, a bit of a rattle there. Certainly coming back to that.
Yeah.
The fences at 160.
Vereecke's about 56 years of age now.
That is great down that line. This is looking promising. Certainly you can see once the riders get down that line on that far side that they really feel that a clear round's in their grasp. He's clear, very good. Fantastic round by the Belgian rider. Very good.
He really lives and breathes this sport as well. Vereecke runs his own stable together with his son Andreas near Ghent in Belgium.
Fantastic.
And his wife as well.
Very pleased with that indeed. Well, next rider will be will definitely get. Well, look at that pole. Did you see that having a jolly good roll there in the cups? The next rider will certainly get a huge applause. It's none other than the legend is John Whitaker. Here he is. Just had that wonderful horse called Milton. He's a World Cup champion, silver medalist.
How old is he now, John Whitaker?
Knocking on the door of 70. I think he's 69. Wow. I'll say he's in his 60s.
Yeah, a very familiar face in Hong Kong.
He's just definitely a legend in the sport. He won 4 European golds. Been to 6 Olympics.
Gosh. So this has been getting close to a record.
That was quite amazing. That's a 160 fence he just came down to, and it wasn't panning out as he wanted it to, but he didn't flap, just stayed organised, and it was just wonderful to watch him jump that fence, and he's a real master of his sport. Just
a slight clip there.
It's just...
Oh, what a shame.
Such a shame, absolutely. It would have been wonderful to have him in the jump off. This horse has got that little exuberant sort of buck behind. Oh, it's just... very popular rider.
An excitable horse there, kicking out a few times during that routine.
Sometimes just
the end as well.
Well, just a bit of hijinks. Some horses have that as a bit of a habit. They sort of do a little bit of a bucking motion with their back legs, and but that's such a shame. John not being in the jump off. He's certainly over the last few days got certainly the loudest cheers. Well, maybe not from compared to the home riders, maybe, but he's just such a legend in the sport, and it's a shame he's not in the jump off. But there we go. So we've got our last rider about to come into the arena now. And again, I might pass over the pronunciations to the last rider. It's
I'd say Thijssen.
Thijssen.
Sanne Thijssen.
Sanne Thijssen.
From the Netherlands.
Sanne Thijssen.
Apologies if we have mispronounced any of these names, but some are rather difficult.
So she's riding Chiara VDH, and quite sure here. She's just waiting to go into the arena. Just heading now. So there's a little bit of a slow entrance, not sure why. Oh, I see what's happening. So what's happening, I think, here is that the grey horse that's being led gets sometimes a little bit of stage fright. It's just when I was talking about sort of going away from the other horses and going into an environment. So the horses, you can see, just needs leading in by the rider, and I think the other rider was helping her into the arena. So just a minute or two while everybody's getting organised. So the horse that was having that little bit of stage fright, the grey horse there, the rider's just about to get on. So getting a leg up there from.
At an event like this, how much time do these horses get to spend with the other horses, or are they kept separate most of the time?
Well, all the horses. So behind the warm-up arena that we could see a little earlier, there's stabling for the international horses, and we had domestic horses there for the displays. We had the restart horses for all the Hong Kong the race horses. So that was just a little bit anxious of leaving the other horses at the moment. So it's just the other person that did help lead her in is now moving away, and so you can see this horse is not quite happy about going away, but I think we'll get going in a second. And once the horse gets going, you'll be amazed how suddenly the horse is going to then go and pop around the course. But I think maybe you might just be finding everything a little bit too. She's just finding that a little bit difficult. Yeah. So in the stabling, we've got the international stabling, the domestic horses, and the jockey club have done a musical ride showcasing all our amazing racehorses having their second career after being in racing. So jockey club have got horse welfare at the top of their of the agenda, and the horses on this restart program are all given the opportunity to have a second career here and around the world. So she's up and running. It's quite amazing after what we saw a second ago when this horse is looking quite anxious about coming out to perform, but almost looked like a bit of stage fright. And now has suddenly gone, right, let's go and do it. And it would be, is that a rail? No, she's still clear.
I think it was a clip.
Was it?
I don't think it fell. I don't think. But
no, she's still clear. It's still saying zero penalties there at the bottom. It would be quite amazing if she stays clear after the start of this round. I think there'd be a huge cheer if she goes clear. She's clear. Look at that. Unbelievable.
That's incredible. Absolutely.
It's amazing.
The most nervous start we've seen, and clear. Look at that.
That's a lovely sight to see, isn't it? So it is really amazing, that little bit of stage fright in the beginning, and then the horse performing like that and really trusting the rider. And
that's great to see.
And you could see that the whole way it was managed, they tried to encourage the horse to follow another horse in there, and the rider was really sympathetic and won the horse over. And the horse really went out there and performed. It's an amazing round. Very good. So that concludes our first round. So what they'll do now is they'll come into the arena and they'll take away some of the fences.
Now, why do they do that? Why the change?
So effectively, it's over a jump off is over a shortened course. So there'll be less fences. But as you can see there, the whole crew's come out now, and they'll be moving fences around and taking fences out. Well, not moving them around, just taking the fences out that are not going to be in this next round. which then opens up the places where the riders can cut in front of other fences to get a tighter line than someone else dared to take to the next jump, to save those vital seconds in order to win the class. And as you can see there, we've got nine horses.
How wonderful has it been
in the jump off?
This caliber of event come back
and
to Hong Kong?
just got a Hong Kong rider being interviewed there.
In front of this home crowd. And,
OK, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be back here in just a moment. Stay with us.
How was the atmosphere, and does the home crowd give you
What do we need to watch out for when it comes to cybersecurity threats this year? Also on Pearl magazine, we continue to follow a disabled person's record-breaking attempt to travel around the world. Pearl magazine, Monday night at 8 on Pearl.
太陽星辰熱播中，假期前太忙碌，好易趕唔切睇直播，唔使擔心。
有人犯罪，咁我哋咪可以俾社會知道我哋條道德界線喺邊度咯。
MyTV Super 用戶大結局後7日之內都可以無限 loop， 免費重溫已播出集數，一定唔會俾你 miss 精彩嘅追兇過程。太陽星辰雙語版
MyTV Super 有好多免費嘅節目。
嚇咁衰得唔得㗎？
必理痛特強傷風感冒丸，極速擊退6大感冒症狀。
我唔會俾傷風感冒影響到我工作表現。
極速起效，唔眼瞓。必理痛特強傷風感冒丸，極速擊退感冒症狀。
This is a tour de force of American cuisine.
4 regions, 20 contestants.
Where in America the best cooks come from?
The chefs are flying high, and competition is heating up.
Let's go, let's go!
MasterChef, United Tastes of America. Monday and Tuesday night at 8:30 on Pearl.
So that's just a rerun of watching them jumping around the first round.
OK, so welcome back, and we're just looking at some highlights, some images of the past hour or so here at the Asia World Expo Arena before we get underway with the jump-off.
Correct.
So, Joss, if you could tell us a bit about that.
Well, so for the jump-off, they'll have taken some of the fences out of the arena, whereas we've seen riders riding around this course, the time not being too testing, really trying to get those elusive clear rounds, and those 9 riders that went clear earlier are now going to go into a jump-off where there'll be less fences in the course. But with a few fences that have been taken out, it opens up some lines for people to take some really tight turns, and you'll see everybody now really up a gear. Everybody was trying to be very careful in that previous round to make sure their horses jump clear to get into this jump off. And now it really will be a case of whoever's clear and quickest wins. And it'll be a little bit in the beginning. If we get a couple of clears in the beginning, people are going to get faster and faster.
So it's fair to say this isn't just the next round. This is very much more difficult and more pressure.
Well, it is. This is it. It's now going to be the fastest clear round wins, or if everybody has one down, it'd be the fastest 4 faults win. So it really is about the time now. Before you had a time allowed, now it's about who's the fastest.
Right.
So the time allowed before gave you a set amount of time before you started incurring penalties if you were too slow. Now it's about whoever's fastest with the least amount of jumping faults. So with the most poles that stay up, and the quickest is going to win.
So obviously this is not a cheap sport. You've now got riders here who are not going into the jump off. What does it take to get the finance and funding to take your ride around the world, compete here, accommodation, logistics?
Yeah.
They're self-funding, they're sponsored. How?
It's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
And very much, each show is different, and so there's this way of attracting the top riders. It's obviously makes it you have to sort of, there's a way of helping facilitate that, but for effectively at the top of the sport, like most sports, there's there's the financial incentives of winning these big classes, but if when you're producing horses at the lower levels, and it can be more about your ability to buy and sell horses and to find out other avenues within your setup to create a working economic situation in terms of teaching and that sort of thing. But certainly,
a polite way to put it.
But it's certainly at the top level, when you start getting sponsorship and you start getting coming to these big shows.
So you've been working out in Asia for quite a while now. I mean, equestrian, eventing, show jumping. Yep. How strong is it in this part of the world?
Asia is really it's amazing what's starting to certainly happen. We've had some really good results at major championships from Asian nations, and certainly in China it's a real sort of up and coming sport where. We're just about to start here now, but
yes, focus Yuri Mansur, the Brazilian.
And as I mentioned earlier, it's all going to go very quick. So Yuri Mansur. He's the pathfinder in this class. It's going to be the time to beat, and you're going to start to see some really some tight turns. So that horse really came in on a very tight angle to that double, which wasn't jumping very well. That was it when it was a treble, but came in really tight to that. That's it. So 32.61 is going to be the time to beat and clear. So because he's gone clear, everybody else knows that there's no point in being conservative, just trying to jump a clear. You've just got to go clear and fast, or you're not going to win. But he made that look very easy. He came in on that influential treble, which is now a double going towards the exit, and he came in on a very tight line to that. So when you're in jump-offs, you really, when you're jumping the first round, the horses come in quite square to all the fences. They come in quite straight, and in the jump-offs, they just come in at all sorts of angles, try to save, those fractions of seconds.
So there isn't a set size for one of these courses. You just, they just adapt to whatever arena they're in. The classes all run under certain rules. They've got to have a certain amount of fences, but the placing of fences around the arena can vary depending on your arenas. So that was quite a start to beat now. See these horses turning on a sixpence, 2 strides, boom, and over the top of these big fences. So this one here, this influential fence here earlier. Oh,
he's still clear.
There was
incredible.
a touch, but clear.
And then it's just how much they dare move down to this.
No, that doesn't beat Mansur.
It's very, very tight. So he's into second. So there's a deliberate line down on these last 2 fences where anybody dares try and really open up their horses and get there. Save a vital second or 2. But it's very tight. Throughout this class, it's going to be a second or 2 at most that's going to separate everybody. So here we go, Scott Brash. He's we're going to see some very, very quick riding today. Some amazing turns. it a rub. Wow. He's there.
Wow.
Wow. What a round. What a round.
So into first place for Scott Brash.
These horses just really are, I mean, these are top horses, and they're just so scopy and so athletic, and you can see how the horse really opens up over some of these fences and pops over this, just really jump out.
How old are these horses before they start jumping, before they first go out with a rider?
They're out jumping 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
They can, and it's quite a long journey to get to this point here. So Scott's horse was 12, and you'll have had lots of years competing at a good level. But as I mentioned before, we're getting to prime age. So 31.71 to beat. Quite a tight turn. That's unbelievable how that stayed up. The horse really sort of, whether you saw that, the horse sort of put his foot down and picked his foot up again in mid-air. And she's still going. Foot to the floor. Whoop. Yeah. Whoa. And oh, there we go into first. My word.
31.68.
Gosh, what a round. It's that the penultimate fence to the last, which you've got to really go. But quite there was just that horse really sort of quite amazing over that fence number 2. This is riders on the edge now. They're really having to go to the limits in order to be able to make a difference on the time. And these riders really have to shave off every metre around the course in order to have a chance. And then it's just making that turn back. Just seems a little bit slower than the others. Might be deceptive. Whoa, wait. Yeah. Just
yeah, way
a little
over,
bit slower.
up above.
Yeah.
Well, 36.64.
Well, so it definitely looked like he was riding a clear round. Just a little bit slower. It's, be going through probably nearly halfway now through the jump off already. Danish rider out in front. It's definitely the big class to come to the end of this Longines International show. been a real spectacle. Okay, this is going to be... Okay, so Turturiello looking ready. Just getting him settled before they start. So this is Sanne Thijssen, Holland. Just settling his horse before they start. It's 11-year-old gelding. So each rider has different ways of coming to the arena with their horses. Some come in quite quietly with him and really get them settled so they're focused and calm. And then you get horses that you need to almost... Oh, that was a bit annoying. First fence down there for him. Horse is almost a bit too calm. Yeah, I was just saying that some horses you have to get into the ring and sort of motivate them a little bit before you go in, sort of have a bit of a positive canter into the arena, and some you want to, they're a little bit excitable, you tend to come in a little bit calmer and try and get them to settle before you start. But a very frustrating thing to have your first fence down. And over the last, very frustrating. First fence down. And coming down to our last few riders. Very frustrating. They really have been wonderful show jumps in that arena, really sort of bespoke to landmarks around Hong Kong.
I mean, you can get a sense, even if you're not completely familiar with this, watching at this stage, very early on you can tell, like watching Massenhofer, you knew very early on he wasn't going to make the time.
Yeah, you could.
He just wasn't going fast enough.
Absolutely, you can just feel they're just not covering the ground with quite enough purpose. They're more sort of just making sure that they're within themselves and going clear. So this may be one to watch out for. You see there's quite a lot of purpose in this one, this round. It's going to be a tight turn there back to the vertical, and then he really reacted well. Didn't see that till the very last moment, and then it's down to the last. It's going to be just over.
32-24.
Gave it a good go. Richard Vogel there. But it certainly will. There's not going to be a lot between the top 3 or 4 at the end of this. Time's very tight. But it's all hundredths of a second. But definitely give it a good go. And again, it's something you can't quite see on the TV, but the horses really have to react so quickly when they're not sure what jump's coming up, and they can be just turned into something at this level, and they just react. And
so sorry, can I just double check? These barriers are all exactly the same size right now? They do vary a little.
They do vary a little. Okay. Yeah, they do vary.
Probably within, say, 20 centimetres.
Or no, less. Probably 10. More of 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, we've still got our verticals, which are the single fences, and then the oxes are the wide fences where it's almost two sets like this jump here put together, and then you have different width dimensions. Right, we're watching. This looks like it could be one to watch. You can really hear the riders' encouragement there. So encourage them off the floor. Here we go, down to the last.
That's a 33. 34, in fact.
Yeah, just over. We've still got our leader from Denmark on 31.68. So we've got a next competitor just coming in. It's going to be really, really foot to the floor if we're going to have anybody other than a Danish rider winning today. And we've got our horse coming back in. It would be quite a story, wouldn't it, if this horse ends up winning after a little bit of stage fright coming in both times. To go ahead and win the class would be a huge achievement.
Looks like it's perhaps happening again.
A little bit, but I think a little bit less so this time. I think the horse has been in once. Oops, just something else. Oh, no, we're up and running already. Okay. Sanne Thijssen from Holland.
How much time do they have to do their warm-up?
Outside before they come into the arena?
No, here. Once they're in the arena, before the clock starts at the jump, how much time do they have before that?
Well, there's a clock that starts running, and you've got to keep an eye on that. And if you don't, if you miss the clock that starts running, then you're starting to incur time penalties before you've even gone over the start line. Just didn't have a very good distance to that. Just got there on a bit of a half stride, and horse did really well to get up in the air. And then again, it's just, I mentioned a little bit when the horses do get a little bit rattled over having a jump like that, but she's such a shame down to that Oxer. But I'm sure she'll get a large round of applause there. Well, there we go.
That's such a disappointing come down.
Yeah.
The last time we saw Sanne, she had a big smile on her face.
Absolutely. She'll be pleased that the horse finished up that round. Confident again. Just you can see how the horse put down there in between the middle of the fence and then picked up again, but 4 faults, and she did well to get to the end. And certainly that concludes the class. Got a very happy winner, as they'll now prepare to have the ceremony, the award ceremony. It's been really amazing, this show. They've had so many, as I mentioned before, so many displays, and the light sequences, and they've got this amazing screen up in the middle which highlights all of Hong Kong, and they've got the results. We've got our Danish winner.
Yeah, so an interview now with Zascha.
Congratulations, Zascha. That was an incredible performance. What did you do to shave off 0.03 of a second of Scott Brash's blistering pace?
That's a good question. I have a big stride and a fast horse, so I just gave it everything and it worked out.
Both you and Come On Stanley must have nerves of steel.
Yeah, we know each other very good, so I think in this kind of situation, it's a good thing.
So you have now etched your name in Grand Prix history here in Hong Kong. What's the first thing you're going to do tonight to celebrate?
I have my whole team here. They're horse owners and trainer and groom, and I think we're definitely gonna drink on it.
Congratulations once again, ladies and gentlemen, the champion of the Longines Grand Prix here at the Hong Kong International Horse Show. Congratulations, Zascha Lill.
Okay, we'll take a quick break now and be back here in just a minute.
The long-awaited match is here.
The name the Russian agent is sold.
My name is Evanson. I'm not a goddamn Russian spy.
Do you have any idea who this woman is?
Angelina Jolie
Protocol is clear. We bring her in or we bring her down.
is
What she's done for this country, doesn't that mean anything to you?
Salt tonight at 10:30 on Pearl.
必理痛特強傷風感冒熱飲，有效舒緩初起感冒症狀，有成個檸檬咁多嘅維他命 C。5分鐘準備起效，必理痛特強傷風感冒熱飲，有效舒緩初起感冒症狀。
真人真事改編，2024年國內評分最高華語劇集《散花爛漫時》，MyTV Super 現已上架。
Cracking the Code. What makes DeepSeek unique? Legislative Council member Professor William Wong-Kum Fai on Straight Talk, Tuesday night at 8 on Pearl.
Welcome back live to the Asia World Expo out near Hong Kong Airport. We have a winner and we'll have a prize presentation coming up shortly. Joss, there were a few questions I didn't get a chance to ask you as we watched some of the highlights of.
Oh, this is a fantastic bit of footage. It's just showing you the difference between the riders, how they rode the rounds going at the same time, and where one rider
they were
exactly where one rider was faster than the other, and you can see the difference in their slight difference in their turns, and it really was, as I mentioned, hundredths of a second. It was you can see. The timing, literally, it's hundredths of a second, isn't it? Yeah.
That is a great way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. So the horses all now just in the collecting ring there. This is where they warm up, or they once they've jumped their rounds, they're just going to make their way back into the main arena now for the prize giving. And it really does conclude what has been fantastic 3 days of the Longines International Spectacular with amazing show jumping and displays, and just great to have this showcased here at the Asia Expo here in near the airport here in Hong Kong.
Well, apart from the fact that this is actually just a great location logistically for the riders and the horses, everybody, we didn't get a chance earlier on in the program to talk about how important the biosecurity is for these events.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's as I mentioned earlier, a little bit about the stabling, that we're having to keep the Hong Kong horses very separate to the domestic horses that we use in the displays, very separate from the international horses. Obviously got all our racing in Hong Kong, that we've got to make sure that we've got horses in Hong Kong that are very well and very disease-free here in Hong Kong, and it's really important that when horses are coming into Hong Kong, there's very, very stringent biosecurity.
Now, the organisers of this event, I think it's fair to say they enjoy bringing this event here because, as you mentioned earlier, there is such a great support set up here because there is such a rich history of all sorts of different riding and equestrian and racing, of course, in Hong Kong.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean, for running this show, the collaboration with the Hong Kong Jockey Club has been huge throughout this build up to this international show. We've got world class everything, because we've got world-class racing. We've got everything associated with equestrianism here, and all the logistics were very well supported by the club. And if all the transport teams are getting the horses on and off the planes, and we've got amazing vets, and we've got world-class everything. So really, it's been very, as a rider, if you're bringing your prized horse across the world, you know that it's going to be in very safe hands throughout the process.
So that's the grassroots support. Can you tell me a bit about the actual organisation of this, how it works in with the Hong Kong Jockey Club and the sponsor?
There's a company called H-Power that run the London International Show, and they brought which is great. They brought the Longines Hong Kong International Show here now, and the club are working in collaboration with them to help run it. We've got the Federation, the Hong Kong Federation. Got a good equestrian community here in Hong Kong, and the Equestrian Federation of Hong Kong, China. We've got so many volunteers that have helped make this happen, and you'll see all these show jumps sort of get whisked out of the arena in 5 seconds, which looks like it's like a whole army of people taking things out. And there's so many volunteers that really love horses, love to be involved. You can see them all there taking the jumps out of the arena. So we've got stewards and judges, and the Federation have been really very helpful in providing all those to help run this. We've got lots of international judges, of course, come in from around the world, and they bring in huge knowledge and expertise. Very worthy winner there of what's been an absolutely amazing competition. Calibre of riding and calibre of horses here.
And Secretary of Culture, Sports and Tourism, Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, to present to our winner as well. Of the Hong Kong Jockey Club, presenting to our winner. Congratulations to our winning lineup. And of course to winning owner there as well, to Christophe Schockermuller and Paul Schockermuller's winning top horse. Presentation of the champagne as well now by
something to look forward to again next year.
Of the Longines Hong Kong International.
And then we have the chairman of the Hong Kong Jockey Club.
So can we confirm there is a commitment for next year, or still not sure? We'll wait and see perhaps.
Absolutely, I think it's certainly been a huge success this year, and I for one would be over the moon if it is, which I'm sure, as you can see, there's been a lot of very, very happy people.
Yeah, what was
in the crowd.
I mean, you've been there for the past few days. What was the attendance like from the very beginning?
Yeah, absolutely. What's fantastic about those Longines shows, they've got all these trade stands in other sections of the exhibition hall, all sort of with equestrian stands and sort of Hong Kong Jockey Club stands, and just lots of shopping, and so the whole 3 days has been a great visit for anybody, whether you're an equestrian enthusiast or not. It's a wonderful occasion to come and watch. and just absorb, because it's seeing these amazing horses in the exhibition centre come and do this.
Welcome back. Well, we've run out of time now, but we have our winner, Zascha Lill, I should say, of Denmark. So thanks very much for joining us tonight. But Joss, hopefully we're going to see this event going forward over the next few years in Hong Kong.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a total success, and the crowds have really enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful spectacle, and I think it's certainly be wonderful to have this on the calendar now, because really it's having a chance of more world-class equestrianism, and a chance to see the best performing their best at this Asia Expo. It's been a real treat. So I think, yeah, fingers crossed, we'll see lots more of this.
Okay, Joss, thanks very much for joining us this evening, and thank you for watching. That's all we have time for from the Asia World Expo. See you again next time. Bye for now.